Hello, and welcome to Families in Recovery, a family education video produced by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Phase 3 of addiction is called disenchantment. By now, family members know there's a problem. They may be hurt and angry that their lives are disrupted, that they've been lied to, that they can't trust their loved one. They may pull away and refuse to help or to solve the problems that addiction creates.
I was one of those addicts that did a lot of family damage. I was involved in street crimes and juvenile delinquency issues at a young age, and the truth is that I became an embarrassment not just to my nuclear family, but to the extended family. I went for a 20-year period with absolutely no family contact. And through this mutual friend between my brother and I, he was feeding my brother information. He said, "Hey, you know, your little brother Mike's out of prison again." And my brother would respond, "Well, just keep him away from me. Don't let him know that we're communicating." In my recovery, there's been a lot of reintegration with my family and things like that.
I remember a vivid time just at the end. She'd been put on a medication that had warnings on it. You know, do not drink with this medication. And I didn't know the details of the medication, but I knew that was a serious thing. And she, ever so proudly, when I came home from school one day, showed me that she could measure how much alcohol she was allowed to have without the medication kicking in and killing her, and mix it into multiple drinks and feel like she'd had multiple drinks, although she hadn't gone over the limit with the pills. And I knew that once she drank, there was no accuracy in her measurement. And I remember being, not just fearful that she was going to kill herself, but furious that she would tell me about it and put one more thing on my plate that I had to think about. Now, I have to be proud she's measuring things to the fine line so she doesn't kill herself. I remember actually my coping with that was that I couldn't get myself across the backyard when I came home from school, because I didn't want the scene of what it was going to be like to open the kitchen door and she was dead, you know, with their carefully measured alcohol around her. And that became a real possibility. With that medication, it became real. And I would stand in the backyard till, excuse me, it's okay? All right. It's okay with me. I'd stand in the backyard till I had to go to the bathroom or past. I just couldn't go in. And I finally had occasion to deal with it for myself. Now, I asked a cop, "What do you do if you find a dead body?" And got the process.
Now that the family can no longer avoid the consequences of substance use, family members try to figure out what went wrong. They often blame themselves or their loved one. They don't understand that the addiction itself is to blame.
An addict is in a primary relationship with the bottle, the pipe, or something of that nature, and also happens to be in a relationship with a living, breathing spouse. The best that addict is capable of doing is simply two-timing. There's like a love triangle there. And sadly, the chemicals is the primary relationship. And so an addict may tell his spouse, "Oh, honey, I love you. And if I happen to drop out of sight for 2 weeks and come back dragging my sorry butt home on a Monday morning, I'm hoping that you'll put me to bed, feed me the soup, get me back on my feet." And for the spouse, it's very difficult to be in a relationship with an addict that is in a relationship with a chemical.
Many people out here in their addiction and in recovery have never been able to restore or rebuild their family. You know, and it's mostly because of the ego. It's mostly because of the stigma that's related, you know, the guilt, the resentment. So the people, the family members, have some of the same freaking feelings that the addict had. But the family members are not suffering from the illness of addiction like the individual suffers. Don't nobody hurt worse than the individual who is using drugs and alcohol.
The stigma of addiction often gets in the way of a person getting help. Family members may feel guilty or ashamed that they can't control the situation. The persons who are using substances feel awful that they can't stop. No one wants the rest of the world to know what they're going through.
At first, there's, there's, even for the family, there's the denial, there's the guilt. You go through all those stages, but I didn't realize they were a common thing that everyone went through.
I remember it was rough kind of going through 7th and 8th grade and junior high and everything, being at the store and trying to buy food with food stamps. And so you're up at the check stand and you see a friend from school, and real quick you put the food stamps away and you tell the teller, I forgot something, I gotta go leave real quick and get it. So that was kind of just kind of embarrassment from that point.
Obviously, as a mother, you wonder, you see a child, or even an adult child, as an addict, as a personal failure, as something you should have known and taken care of.
During the disaster phase, family members may separate, physically or emotionally, from their loved one to save themselves. Sometimes family members feel a sense of failure and hopelessness. Family members learn to behave and think in ways that preserve the peace, but are often not healthy for anyone. Children learn ways of behaving that can interfere with their ability to function later in life in a healthy relationship.